Dallas Stadium is urgently completing final preparations regarding its specialized turf and acoustics for the World Cup semifinal between France and Spain. Dallas Stadium is undergoing the most urgent preparations for the 2026 World Cup semifinal between Spain and France. This will be the 9th and final match to be held at the stadium in this year's tournament. The focus of the preparations is on maintaining the quality of the turf after hosting a record number of matches. FIFA's turf manager, Ian Craig, said the system uses cold season grass, a blend of Kentucky bluegrass and ryegrass, stitched with 5% synthetic fibers to enhance durability and resilience. This turf sometimes turns pink due to the effect of the LED lighting system used to stimulate growth. All the turf was grown in Colorado before being transported to Texas. Assessing the current pitch quality, Ian Craig emphasized, the turf has delivered the performance we expected throughout the tournament. This type of grass cannot survive outdoors in Texas. But conversely, outdoor turf in Texas cannot survive in this stadium because it is not suitable for the lighting and temperature conditions. Besides the technical aspects of the pitch, the atmosphere in the stands was also given special attention by the organizers. Lance Brass, FIFA's director of stadium production and entertainment, expressed his admiration for the fans' enthusiasm. He shared, the fans truly immersed themselves in the cheering culture, and witnessing that amplified throughout the tournament was incredible. The singing echoing through the stadium was what I loved most. The semifinal match between Spain and France will be the last chance for fans in North Texas to enjoy the ultimate World Cup atmosphere, before the Dallas Stadium completes its historic mission in the tournament. If there's one match that deserves to be called an early final of the 2026 World Cup, it's the clash between France and Spain. One side boasts the most explosive attack in the tournament, 16 goals. The other the most solid defense, 1 goal conceded. When two opposing forces meet, tactical prowess will likely decide everything. France entered the semi-finals with almost absolute conviction. 6 wins out of 6, 16 goals scored, and only 2 conceded demonstrate Didier Deschamps' team is in ideal form. Even more formidable, Les Bleus are no longer entirely dependent on Kylian Mbappé. Besides the striker who has scored 8 goals, Ousmane Dembélé brings speed and penetrating ability, while Michael Olise becomes a source of creativity with passes that unlock the defense. Their fast-paced, versatile attack with multiple approaches to the goal makes France an extremely difficult opponent for any team. Conversely, Spain has impressed with its stability. Only 1 goal conceded in 6 matches is the clearest evidence of Luis de la Fuente's tightly organized defensive system. La Roja doesn't defend by sitting deep, but by controlling the ball and the tempo of the game. When the opponent doesn't have possession, dangerous counter-attacks like Mbappé or Dembélé are significantly restricted. The head-to-head history may favor Spain with 2 consecutive victories against France in Euro 2024 and the Nations League 2025. However, the current context is different. Les Bleus possess a more balanced and comprehensive team, while previous defeats were due to specific factors regarding personnel and tactics. Therefore, La Roja is unlikely to enter the match with the mindset of being the dominant team. This will be a clash between the sharpest spear and the strongest shield of the 2026 World Cup. And in a semi-final where the difference in skill is almost non-existent, victory will most likely go to the team that forces their opponent to play the way they want. In short, Spain's two recent victories have boosted their confidence ahead of their rematch with France in the 2026 World Cup semifinal. However, Les Blues are now a more complete and resilient team. La Roja will certainly be a formidable challenge, but coach Didier Deschamps' team still has a good chance of becoming the third team to reach the final for the third consecutive time. After Italy and Brazil, France will have the return of Aurélien Tchouaméni after injury. He had been training normally before the match against Morocco, but coach Didier Deschamps did not risk using him in the quarterfinal, saving him for the match against Spain. This match is scheduled to take place at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on July 14th. Turn on your TV to watch it live on Fox, Telemundo, and other digital platforms.
I know a girl from an island. She stands apart from the crowd. She loves the sea and her people. She makes her whole family proud. Moana, listen. Do you know who you are?
The stories are true.
The story has just begun. Beyond our reef, an evil darkness has found us. Moana, the ocean chose you. Find Maui. Restore the heart of Te Fiti and save us all.
Maui, demigod of the wind and sea.
Hero of men.
Huh?
So it goes like this. Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men. Ah, women. Women too, men and women.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See her light up the night in the sea. She calls me. I need your help.
I'm not going on a mission with some mortal.
My island, my people, won't survive if we don't make it. The ocean chose me for a reason. And it chose you too.
Listen, princess, if you're gonna do this, you gotta go through a whole ocean of bad.
I'm not a princess. I'm the daughter of the chief, leader of my people. I am Moana!
Are you ready to be the hero?
Let's go save the world.
I got your back.
Ma!
What? Is there something in my teeth?
Hello everyone, it's nice to meet you again with the Disney Artist channel. Today, Disney announced a new live-action adaptation of the animated film, set for release in the summer of 2026 as Moana. Now as the main content of this movie, Moana is a 2026 American musical adventure film and a live-action adaptation of Disney's 2016 animated film Moana, the third installment and the first live-action film in the Moana franchise. The film was directed by Thomas Kyle in his feature directorial debut from a screenplay by Jared Bush and Dana Ledoux Miller. It was produced by Dwayne Johnson, Hiram Garcia, Danny Garcia, Beau Flynn, and songwriter Lin-Manuel Miranda. The film stars Johnson, reprising his role as Maui from the animated films, Rena Owen, John Toohey, Frankie Adams, Jermaine Clement, also reprising his role as Tamatoa from the animated films, and Catherine Lagaya in her film debut as the title character. Development of a live-action Moana film was announced by Johnson in April 2023, with Kyle hired as director in the following May. Lagaya was announced in the title role in June 2024. Along with the main supporting cast, principal photography occurred in Atlanta and Hawaii between July and November 2024. Moana was released by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures in the United States on July 10, 2026. The film has received generally negative reviews from critics, with many deeming it to be an unnecessary remake, and has grossed $95 million against a $250 million budget. In 2019, Walt Disney Pictures privately approached Dwayne Johnson with plans for a live-action adaptation of Moana, 2016-9, on April 3, 2023. Johnson publicly announced the news and noted that he would reprise his role as Maui in addition to producing alongside his ex-wife Dani Garcia and her brother Hiram Garcia. For $7 Productions and Beau Flynn for Flynn Picture Co., the animated film's lead star Auli'i Cravalho would serve as executive producer. Johnson remarked, "This story is my culture. And this story is emblematic of our people's grace and warrior strength. I wear this culture proudly on my skin and in my soul, and this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reunite with Maui. Inspired by the mana and spirit of my late grandfather, High Chief Peter Mavia, is one that runs very deep for me. There is no better world for us to honor the story of our people, our passion and our purpose than through the realm of music and dance, which is at the core of who we are as Polynesian people." Sean Bailey, Disney Live Action's president of production at the time, acknowledged that, although only 7 years had passed since the animated film was released, the celebration of Disney's 100th anniversary contributed to the decision to remake the film so soon. The budget of the film is $250 million. On May 31, 2023, Thomas Kyle was announced as the director, making his narrative feature directorial debut after helming the live film recording of the Broadway production of Hamilton, 2020. Casting was expected to begin later in the year, but was suspended until November 8, 2023, due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. In February 2024, Johnson stated that an actress had been cast in the titular role, but that the actress would be kept under wraps for the time being. In June 2024, Catherine Lagaya was revealed to be the actress cast in the titular role, alongside John Tui, Frankie Adams, and Rena Owen joining the cast, with Jared Bush and Moana 2 co-director Dana Ledoux Miller writing the screenplay. This marked the third collaboration between Johnson and Tui, after Hobbs and Shaw, 2019, and Young Rock, 2021 to 2023. Principal photography began in Atlanta, Georgia on July 29, 2024, under the working title Canon, and wrapped in Hawaii on November 22. It was previously scheduled to begin filming in June 2024 under the working title Motorheads, after being delayed from an October 2023 start date due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. Oscar Fora serves as cinematographer. Bill Westenhofer serves as the visual effects supervisor, having left the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, film Captain America, Brave New World, 2025, to do so. In August 2025, it was revealed that the studio wanted to use an AI-generated deepfake of Johnson's face composited onto a body double for select shots with the actor's approval and the help of AI company Metaphysic, but later abandoned the idea to avoid potential controversy in the midst of societal and governmental issues surrounding the regulation of AI in the filmmaking process in everyday life. Melanie Oliver edited the film. Moana was released on July 10, 2026, coinciding with the 10th anniversary of the franchise and the release of the original film. The film was released in IMAX. It was originally scheduled for release on June 27, 2025, but following the announcement of Moana 2, it was delayed by 1 year to its current release date to increase the gap between the two films. Mark Mancina, who provided the musical score for the original film and its sequel, confirmed in December 2024 that he would return to score the remake. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who was a songwriter for the original film, also returned. He was not involved with Moana 2 due to scheduling conflicts with Mufasa, the Lion King. Miranda wrote Along the Way for the remake with Auli'i Cravalho, Catherine Lagaya, and Dwayne Johnson performing the end credits version of the song. As of July 12, 2026, Moana has grossed $43 million in the United States and Canada, and $52 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $95 million. Following its poor opening weekend, Deadline Hollywood estimated the film could lose the studio between $100 to $125 million. In the United States and Canada, Moana was projected to gross between $60 minus $65 million during its opening weekend from 3,875 theaters. The film was also projected to have a global opening of $130 million, the lowest ever from a Disney live-action film. After the film earned $18 million on Friday, which included Thursday previews, the domestic box office projections were dropped to $42 to $46 million. The film would end up debuting to $43 million domestically and $52 million overseas for a worldwide total of $95 million. This start was seen as a misfire by several media outlets. It ranks as among the lowest domestic opening weekend earnings for a Disney live-action adaptation, below 2019's Dumbo, $46 million, but above Snow White from the year prior, $42.2 million. The film's underperformance was attributed to fatigue from Disney live-action remakes and its release during a crowded marketplace, including competition from Disney's own Toy Story 5. On review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, Moana has an approval rating of 34% based on 155 reviews with an average rating of 4.8/10. The site's critical consensus reads, "The sea calls to no one in this underwhelming new version of Moana, a rather lifeless endeavor that solidifies its animated predecessor as the superior adventure." Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating to reviews, gave it a score of 41 out of 100 based on 37 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to F scale. Tasha Robinson of Polygon stated that, "Virtually every line beat and song in the new movie is identical to the 2016 version, apart from a few minor punch-ups or extra comedy tags here and there. There's no artistic or aesthetic reason for this movie to exist." IndieWire's Wilson Chapman wrote, "This is, undoubtedly, the most faithful any Disney remake has ever been. Hitting almost every single beat from the original with such mathematical accuracy that it's really not an exaggeration to call it a shot-for-shot facsimile on par with Gus Van Sant's Psycho." Casey Chong of Fortress of Solitude magazine stated that the film falls into an uncanny valley, blending live action with so-called photorealistic CGI in a way that feels surprisingly, even shockingly, regressive. And although the movie was shot on location in Hawaii, the over-reliance on artificial studio lighting is glaringly obvious. In a 1 out of 5 review, Clarice Lowry of The Independent stated that Dwayne Johnson's terrible wig is just one low point of a film that has all the visual allure of a Febreze advert. Liz Shannon Miller of Consequence rated the film a B-, stating that Moana contains no nightmare fuel on the level of 2025's Snow White, which ends up being high praise for adaptations like these. Marshall Schaefer of The Playlist stated that this film is destined for great viewership in households that accidentally click the wrong tile on the service and can't reach the remote to change back to the original. Alyssa Wilkinson of The New York Times called the film the most pointless, and perhaps not accidentally, the worst of all of Disney's live-action remakes.
I would say kind of her nerves and her apprehension. I think that's like one of my favorite things about her is that she's very willing to do things kind of that with that nervous and scared energy. She kind of uses it to motivate her. So definitely coming into this role, I was like very nervous. So I kind of had to use that.
Beautiful smile this please. Right next to her, right over here, please. Yeah, train on your
Tommy Kell is like the most comforting and warm energy you could ever imagine, but he's also so professional. He knows exactly how to get what he wants without like frightening you or like overworking you. So kind of having him on my side and on my team, it was like having a friend there. It was like having like a comrade in this. And whenever I was doing something, Tommy was doing something. So we were very much in it together. Definitely in the village, getting to interact with all of our beautiful villagers, a lot of whom are here and going to dance today. So getting to see them earlier today and getting to kind of, it was insane it almost felt like I was back in my village. I think it proves that it's not the place that you are, it's the people that you're with. I hope they connect with the things that they remember and the new things that we're bringing in. I hope they love this version of Moana the same way I love the OG version of Moana. I just hope that people can kind of celebrate that this is now a part of the Moana legacy.
For me, I've been acting for over 20 years, and I never thought that I'd ever be part of a Polynesian musical, because that's what, I grew up watching, West Side Story. It's just so many, and to have one that's based around our cultures is so significant to the growth of us on screen. And I think telling those stories, empowering young women, empowering families, it's amazing. I had to dust off a lot of the theatre is my background, and then to do this and to do it well, I had huge shoes to fill with the singing from Te Waka and Tim Moran Morrison's voicing of the character. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun. You have to have fun when you're doing these things and telling this story. I think Moana, the character, represents the coming of age of thinking, where the young people want to explore more, and we are bound by parents and their unconditional suffocation love, right? And I think it's a great story for that. And as a father and as a person who's played this character, what I learned from it was to listen to my children. I've got 5, and I've just had a 2-year-old baby, and when I shot this movie, I took that fatherly love, and I hope I displayed that well in the movies.
Oh my goodness, I feel like she's so tender and observant, and I think we only saw a glimpse of that in the animation, so it was really nice to dive deeper and bring, sort of humanize her in a way. So I felt really proud to bring my own version, but also pay homage to the original, and I hope that people like it. Yes, on the first night shoot, when it was dark and all the follies were lit up with fire, and I could feel that it was a Disney film, and I felt like I had to take a moment, like, oh my goodness, I'm in a magical Disney film, and my favorite one, so it was quite a moment. I'm just hoping that they have a lovely time. I think that you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to feel empowered, and I imagine that you'll leave, skipping and feeling really hopeful and lovely.
Epic. A blessing, a privilege. I have the profound privilege of being Grandma Tala, and you couldn't get, as an actress or as an actor, you couldn't get a more beautiful, profound role. So to be cast in this movie, especially for the South Pacific where I'm from, is of major significance. I think one of the main themes of the story is about Te Whiti, and in Polynesian culture, Te Whiti we call Papatuanuku. She's our earth mother. So our culture is we come from the land and the ocean. And I think for humanity in general is what happens to Te Whiti when her heart is stolen, she turns into te kā. And that's what happens to humans. And I think the more profound message here about when somebody's heart is stolen or hurt, what they then become, but once you heal and you restore that heart, we become Te Whiti again. So I think it's I know I'm getting deep and meaningful, but I think it's a profound message for humanity, and I think it's one of the reasons the story succeeded in the first place with the animated story, is we can all identify with an aspect of the story, because it is a timeless, international, global story for humanity. It's a wonderful, wonderful message, and all the characters, somebody can identify. I think it's why it did so well internationally, is because everyone said that's us, It's in order to be universal, you got to be specific. So it's a Pacific story. I think the other important thing for Grandma Tala is her whole message to Moana is to listen to the voice inside, to listen to her heart and to follow her heart. And that's how she'll find out who she is. And I think that's a really important message for all of us, to be true to who we are.
Just say singing and dancing. That was really fun to do with my parents. And I just love to do it with everyone. Everyone was really happy doing it, so it was very enjoyable.
I would like being on the beach and just being in the ocean and just looking at the water.
Hold it.
Love it.
Yeah, really close. Right here, John.
My favorite thing about this story is Moana's very determined, and she goes out and gets things, and she does it in such a kind way. She just wants to help everybody and be true to herself.
I like just being Moana, and it's fun, but also you have to represent your culture.
It is amazing. It's so exciting. It's also very epic, but it's all the things that we had really hoped it to be. I mean, years ago when John Lasseter had this idea to tell this story and sent our filmmakers to all the islands in the South Pacific to do the research, that was years ago, 5-6 years ago, and then here we are. This project came to me 2 or 3 years ago, and it's so cool and so awesome to be here tonight, to be celebrating our movie. A lot of people like the movie so far, so I think a lot of people around the world are going to enjoy it, and it was such an honor to make it, and I'm so happy that our Polynesian culture is being celebrated this way, and it's an awesome thing. I am most excited for audiences to discover the singing. The music in this thing is amazing. Not that I'm amazing, but other people who are singing. I sing, I'm okay. The other people who sing are amazing. And also, too, I just think there's a really special message. It's so special, I can't even say it. Special message of listening to your gut and listening to your intuition and listening to that voice inside, because there's so much noise that's happening in the world, not only today, but just in general in life. You always want to listen to that little voice that says, you can do better. You can go beyond the reef, so to speak, and there's more out there for you. So I think that the message is going to resonate with families all around the world, certainly with young girls all around the world, young boys as well, and young boys like myself who still think that way. So I'm very excited about it.
Whether you've been on set for 1 day or 1,000 days, we want the same thing. We want to feel safe to do our work. And so it's a very simple job. I need to make sure that everybody is on the same page, that we all know where we're heading and how we're going to head there. So I think communication is the key. If you let people know where you're marching, it's often helpful. And I think there's a lot of hiding of information occasionally in show business, and I like to try to share the information. Well, by having flesh and blood, by having two people look at each other eye to eye, soul to soul, there's an emotionality that we knew we could access that we were really excited about. And also, by having Catherine in the middle of water, it feels different. That sense of danger and adventure is much more heightened, I think. And I think that makes all the payoffs for the sort of epicness of the story pay off. And then, of course, you want to be able to release the tension with the comedy, right? So there's a lot of hey in this movie. We're giving the people what they want. There's a lot of hey in this movie. And that's the thing you also know, is that you have Dwayne arriving. Dwayne's going to come and embody Maui for the first time in this way, and you want to meet that moment. So we want to try to build a world so we understand what Moana's fighting for and what she cares about. So when she intersects with, the so-called villain of our story, there's real conflict there. The key was, where do we need music? And Lynn and I have been doing this since 2002. So we're almost 25 years into this. I don't know, what is this? My gosh. This guy is he's really worrisome. I think if he listens to what people say, he might actually become something. Lynn and I, really since May of 2002 when we met, we've been examining storytelling through music. We've been trying to find where is a moment that needs to be expressed musically because dialogue is not sufficient. And when we looked at this film, they did that so beautifully. Every time we examined something, it didn't feel like it was as natural as we wanted it in terms of how it was flowing out. So when we got to the end of the film and we knew what we had, we realized that something that we could do that we hadn't done in the film was have Moana and Maui sing together. And then we said, what's better than that? 2 Moanas and Maui singing together. And once we said that out loud, I saw Lynn's eyes get big, and I've been doing this with him a long time. And when the eyes get big, just get out of the way, because the song's coming. And very shortly after that, the song emerged. This movie was filled with so many moments that really I had to step back and take that mental picture of. The first day we stepped on set, and I was in the village, and we built that village practically, and I was in the middle of Motunui, which was football fields worth of sets and real fales 30, 40 feet high with 200 actors. I thought, how could this get any better? And then we started singing, and I looked over, and Lynn was to my right, and there was the cast. And I just thought, this really is about as good as it gets.
It's been a total joy. Tommy Kail is directing. Tommy has directed all my musicals. He directed In the Heights, he directed Hamilton. So it was just an enormous weight off my shoulders when I found out he was the one in charge, and it's been a joy since then. Sure, it's called Along the Way, and we really wanted to do something only this version could do, which was have a musical conversation and passing of the torch between our OG Moana, Auli'i, and Katie, who does such an amazing job in this movie. And so to have that kind of sisterhood that could only exist in this version was really fun to write to. The moment I got to the island of Motunui in Georgia, I was like, we are through the looking glass. And also, just to say some incredible things about Katie, our Moana, it's one thing to draw a cartoon that can sail on a boat and save the world and fight monsters and sing. It's another thing to find a flesh and blood person who can really do all those things with bravery and openness and honesty. And she really is like a, once in a generation. And I'm so grateful we found her. There's no movie without her. I actually think a lot of people discovered Moana at home. It was the #1 streaming movie during the pandemic. It stays near the top of top streaming movies still. We've never let go of Moana. She's still with us all the time. And so I'm excited for people to see this version on a big screen in Dolby Surround and in the movie theater, because I feel like a lot of people love Moana, but they didn't get that chance.
Unbeknownst to her, I've seen her face for a very long time. I remember in the very initial casting process seeing multiple videos of both her and other young women, and she just always had that spark, that life of Moana. She was brave, she was beautiful, and to see her on these really big billboards, like, she's killing it. Yeah, I was really excited to put on an EP hat. It is something very new to me, but there are so many invisible hands that make a movie great, and I do think that this is a great movie. So I've learned a lot. It felt like I didn't know what I didn't know, and I am very glad to have learned, just like Moana does, to truly go beyond the reef and put myself out there. Oh, it was a blast. Lin-Manuel Miranda really does know how to make an earworm. He's too good at it, honestly. But along the way is kind of this meta song, if you will, where an older Moana is either talking to a younger Moana, or I am truly speaking to Catherine that there is so much that this world has for you, and I will be with you along the way, but you have to go out and grab life. And it feels so lovely to be on the same songs again. It is so nice. I have had so many interviews with respectfully people who are not Gen Z. I've had the entire cast experience with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's fantastic, but again, is not a Gen Z young woman. It has been so nice to have a sister in this process and to make eye contact with her as we are traveling around the globe and saying, hey, how are you doing? It can be exhausting, and I am an only child in real life, but it kind of feels like I have a little sister. I also watched the end credits to Moana 2, and I also wonder where the story is going to go. So you're not getting anything out of me, but maybe we'll find Dwayne later tonight, huh? Oh, I think there's so much to take away from this film. I mean, Moana connects with so many young individuals, not just women, but truly the fact that she is the heroine of her own story, that she will grab a demigod by the ear and say, you will right the imbalance between man and nature that you have caused. There are so many wonderful morals that everyone can take away from it, but if I could choose one, it would be that. I think our original film was almost perfect, and something that this film does is it brings it even larger than the version I even knew before. So I'm excited for people to see new Easter eggs and hear new jokes. There's something for our returning fans and something for our new fans as well.
As the first Pacific Islander woman to take the helm on the page with Moana's story, it was really important to me that we were really true to who she is. You know, she is a girl that never quits, and I wanted to make sure that we were honoring that. At the same time, really trying to dig into the vulnerability that comes with being a human 17, 16-year-old girl on the ocean. That was the biggest challenge and the most exciting thing, because it's one thing to be animated. It's another thing to have a young woman out on the open sea, all on her own, and to really live with that. I just really hope that we get to experience the joy and the hope that comes with this journey, and that audiences are as inspired as I am in her story, and that, you know, I find so much courage in everything that she does, and I hope it's a tough world out there. I hope people can find some joy this weekend when they go see this movie. Tommy is he's an actor's director, and he has a lot of experience, so I'm really excited to see what he comes up with.
We actually don't have a word in our language, any Polynesian language, for choreography, because it's so much more. It's not just moves, it's storytelling, it's genealogy, it's a reminder of our ancestry, and just Mother Nature, the vibration of our environment. I wove this into the world of Moana since 2016. First animated, now live action. It's so embedded in our culture from such a young age. It's not performative, it's a part of life. I had to weave in parts of Polynesia to represent, and it's very heavily influenced in Samoa and Tonga specifically, but we foreshadow maybe the future Moanas, that's where the canoe goes. She hadn't had dance experience before, but honestly, day one in the studios, we met in LA, the first time I saw her move in a Polynesian shape, I got emotional. Because beyond the film, I'm like, this is in your bones, it's in your blood, this is a part of you. So just awakening that was worth more than any movie can be. It was more of like a personal victory.
Well, I knew there was a lot out there, which was the great thing, but it was being able to honor each culture and show it off in its most authentic way possible. So, you know, this was the most fun job. I couldn't have wished for anything better than this, yeah. Oh, when all the Motunui was together, and we had 200 villagers there, and we had Moana and Chief Tui and Sina, and it really felt, I don't know, there's no better word than real. The Motunui felt real, and it was filled with song and dance, and we have a Tongan word which is mawhana, when it feels warm, and fear when you're celebrating and enjoying, and that's what I loved about it. The authenticity was key to it, and in that we were able to tell each character's story through the prints. As tapa is, an art form, that you're telling people's history, you're telling their present, you're telling their future as well. So being able to round out the characters and give them all their own personality, their own status, and that was really exciting.
The difference really, for example, with animated feature is that the world already, you're building a whole world. Whereas with the visual effects, the world already exists, and now you're bringing digital characters and trying to integrate that with that world. And I find that really fascinating. And for us, it was really important to make, one of the things that was very challenging is having the actors interact with the digital characters, for example, with Tamatoa. So that was really important for us to get that right and get it to feel really integrated and get, the interaction between between the actor and the character to really work and feel real. Well, I mean, there were so many aspects in that film that, we all loved working on this film. It was such a special film to work on, and there was such an amazing collaboration with the film director, with all the teams that were involved. And I remember when we were working on some of the character designs, and then there was a bit of exploration and finding and being like, yes, that's the character, that's the right fit. And the same with animation, when you tried out the different performances, and we looked at a lot of reference and a lot of the acting and the voice intonation from the actors, and it was really fun to explore it and feel like now we've got it. We got the character, it feels right. So yeah. Oh, we definitely looked at coconut crabs. We look at a lot of reference for everything we do. So we study a lot of the reference, the anatomy. There was a lot of that. We brought a bunch of different photography to the table. And then, of course, what we wanted was a stylized character. So it wasn't supposed to look just like the cartoon. It wasn't going to be photoreal because, he needed that comedy and that sort of comedic effect. So it definitely needed to be a stylized character. So it was a bit of a blend of looking what made him so beloved in the original one, and then also with a real live crab, and blending the two and kind of finding that perfect medium that we found.
The idea of adapting Moana from animation to live action is a huge responsibility. What was really important first and foremost is that we really captured the kind of the culture and get that right in the movie. A lot of things change. You have a lot more latitude in animation. Live action, there's a lot more parameters and boundaries. And so for us, casting the movie was a real challenge. This is a movie where you're like, oh, we'll figure it. Everyone would ask me who's going to play Moana. I'm like, oh, we'll find her. And then meanwhile, I'd lay in bed every night, like staring at the ceiling, like, who's going to play Moana? And we found her. Katie Lagae is incredible. The rest of the cast is extraordinary. Obviously, Dwayne is Maui. And then also is in terms of like the look and feel of the film. Moana broke a lot of ground in terms of like capturing the beauty of Motunui. And so that really set the bar really high for us visually. And the movie's photoreal, so that was a real challenge. It couldn't be like a VFX kind of looking film. And lastly is we felt like one thing that we could achieve with this movie is heart and emotion because of human beings inside the role. So this movie is a lot of humanity. It's very emotional. I cry very, very often throughout the film. So I hope that the audience kind of, feels the same as I do. Yeah, I think the Moana moment for me, and this is it's not really a spoiler because the entire world has seen the animated film. But when Grandma Tala dies, and that kind of activates Moana, it's a really, it's like we all have grandmothers. If you haven't lost them, sadly, life does come calling. And, when I lost my grandmother, it was a really, really rough moment for me. We were very close. So when she loses Grandma Tala and activates her to kind of go beyond the reef and go further than she's ever been and go save her village, that moment inside the movie is really powerful and lands in a major way. And that's when I was watching that scene, I was like, we have something special here.
What excited me about this project, about going from animation to live action, is actually doing something with actual human beings in front of the camera. As much as I love the animated version, this gives it a whole different kind of life. It gives it something that's just much more organic. You're feeling the people. It's a very different, elevated experience that can serve side by side with the movie, with the animated film. So these, I think, will be looked at many years from now as sort of a duo that you can watch. You can watch one, watch the other, and a very different experience, but both wonderful. Well, Tommy, I have to say, was one of the reasons I was super excited. I'm a huge Hamilton fan. I probably saw the show, I think, 7 times. So when I heard that Tommy was the director, that in of itself, I knew the kind of talent that he was going to bring to it, the kind of humanity that he brings to it, because Tommy really connects with these subtleties of emotion, the way that he was able to get performances out of the actors and be sensitive to sort of the entire cultural side of this as well. He was the guy, and there was nobody better than Tommy at understanding the multi-layers of what this movie required. I think they're going to be most surprised by how they will find ways to identify themselves with human beings, actual real-life characters on the screen. They will relate differently to it, which is one of the fabulous experiences of seeing a movie in a theater or at home video eventually, but being able to relate in a different way, and I think it's very exciting.
Now, let's move on to the characters in this movie. Moana is the titular protagonist of the 2026 live-action remake of Moana. She answers the ocean's call and, for the first time, voyages beyond the reef of her island of Motunui with the infamous demigod Maui on an unforgettable journey to restore prosperity to her people. She is based on the character of the same name from the 2016 animated film. On the Polynesian island of Motunui, the inhabitants worship the goddess of nature, Te Fiti, a living island who, long ago, brought life to the ocean using a pounamu stone as her heart and the source of her power. One day, Maui, the shape-shifting demigod of the wind and sea and master of wayfinding, stole Te Fiti's heart to give humanity the power of creation. This caused Te Fiti to disintegrate, and Maui was attacked by Te Ka, a volcanic demon. Maui lost both the heart and his magic fishhook to the depths of the sea. 1,000 years later, the ocean chooses Moana, the daughter of Motunui's chief Tui, to return the heart to Te Fiti. Tui and Sina, Moana's parents, try to keep her away from the ocean to prepare her to become the island's chief. 16 years later, blight strikes the island, killing vegetation and shrinking the fish catch. Moana suggests going beyond the island's reef with her pet pig, Pua, to find more fish and discover what is happening, but Tui forbids it. Moana tries to conquer the reef but is overpowered by the tides and shipwrecked. That afternoon, Moana's grandmother Tala shows her a secret cavern of ships and reveals Motunui's people were voyagers until Maui stole Te Fiti's heart. The ocean was no longer safe without it. Tala explains Te Ka's darkness is destroying the island, but it can be cured if Moana finds Maui and has him restore the heart of Te Fiti. Having been given the heart by the ocean, Tala gives it to Moana. Tala later becomes gravely ill and tells Moana to find Maui. Moana sets sail on a kamikau from the cavern along with her dim-witted pet rooster, Heihei, who stowed away on it. They are caught in a typhoon and shipwrecked on an island, where she finds Maui, who boasts about his achievements. She demands Maui return the heart, but he refuses and traps her in a cave before leaving on her boat. She escapes and confronts Maui, who reluctantly lets her on the kamikau. They are attacked by Kakamora, coconut pirates who seek the heart, but Moana and Maui outwit them. Moana realizes Maui is no longer a hero since he stole the heart and cursed the world. and convinces him to redeem himself by returning the heart. However, Maui first needs to retrieve his fishhook in Lalotai, the realm of monsters, from Tamatoa, a giant coconut crab. While Moana distracts Tamatoa, Maui retrieves his hook, only to find himself unable to control his shape-shifting. He is overpowered by Tamatoa, but Moana's quick thinking allows them to escape with the hook. Maui reveals his first tattoo was earned when his human parents abandoned him as an infant, and the gods, taking pity on him, granted him his powers. After reassurance from Moana, Maui teaches her the art of wayfinding, regaining control of his powers, and the two grow closer. They arrive at Te Fiti's island, only to be attacked by Te Kā. Moana refuses to turn back, resulting in Maui's hook being badly damaged. Unwilling to lose his hook again, Maui abandons Moana, who loses hope and tearfully asks the ocean to find someone else to restore the heart. The ocean obliges and takes the heart, but Tala's spirit appears, inspiring Moana to find her true calling. Moana retrieves the heart and sails back to confront Te Kā. Maui returns, having had a change of heart, and buys Moana time to reach Te Fiti by fighting Te Kā, destroying his hook in the process. Upon being unable to find Te Fiti, Moana realizes Te Kā is Te Fiti, but corrupted without her heart. The ocean clears a path for Moana, which allows her to return the heart to Te Fiti, who heals the ocean and islands of blight. Maui apologizes to Te Fiti, who fixes his hook as well as Moana's boat before falling into a deep sleep and becoming an island. Moana bids farewell to Maui and Te Fiti, returning home and reuniting with her parents. After placing a shell on top of the stack of stones placed by all previous chiefs, Moana takes up her role as chiefess and wayfinder, leading her people as they resume voyaging, accompanied by Maui. This is the first version of the character who is not played by Auli'i Cravalho. Moana is the only live-action Disney princess whose film is closest in the timeline to the release of their animated film. In this case of there only being 10 years between the animated film and live-action. Moana is the second live-action Disney princess to retain the same accent as her animated counterpart, despite being portrayed by a different accented actress after Jasmine. More than 2 years ago at November 12, 2023, my channel has made character Moana from the movie at the same name with the animated version. If anyone hasn't seen this video, please watch it again. First is to fill the skin, then color the dark brown hair for Moana. Next is to wearing a Hawaiian outfit and then wear the ocean necklace for Moana. Next is to draw the hairstyle for Moana. Finally is to make the face for Moana. So the character Moana from the movie at the same name with the live-action version has been completed. Now, if you like this video tutorial, please give me a like and don't forget to subscribe. Others will receive a new notification on my channel. At the same time, please download the app and go to the website DisneyStore to shopping online, as well as Disney Plus to watch some movies and TV shows for free, used by many peoples of the world. Okay, we'll see you again tomorrow, so thanks for watching and goodbye everyone.